We don't look for folks to come to us. We are actively headhunting. People should be using this firm specifically because they want a headhunter. They want someone to go out there and they want somebody to cold call someone until they get them on the phone and they get them to listen to the opportunity and they can articulate as to why they should listen to that opportunity. They should be able to articulate as to why they should maybe take this thing seriously and go home and look at the company and then make a decision on whether or not they really are serious about it.
Welcome back to Talent Hunters, powered by MRI Network, where each week we talk with the world's top talent strategists and executive recruiters. If you want to build talented teams that drive your company to big goals and big growth, then this podcast is for you. And now, let's join the conversation with today's episode of Talent Hunters.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Adam Dalva, president of SearchMax in Sunrise, Florida. 21 years, as well as a second-generation owner, currently, after 2023, top 25 office. Congratulations, Adam. Welcome to the party.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's great to see you.
Adam, to kick this thing off, tell us a little bit about your background and really how you got started within our business.
Well, and you might know this, but I'll go back through it. So my mother was a recruiter. My mother took a job as a recruiter in 1987 with MRI, with an office in Pennsylvania, in Ben Salem, Pennsylvania, for a gentleman by the name of Ted Mashak. And she became a superstar recruiter with no experience and ended up working in the construction industry. Within the construction industry, developed a relationship through cold calls and meetings with just about every construction executive there was, and would literally cold call into their offices. I worked on Wall Street. I wanted to make a career for myself in New York. I moved to New York the day I graduated from college and started working for, at first, a small boutique brokerage firm, and then I worked for a big asset management company. And I worked in the trade center during 9/11. And I was not in the building. I was not late to work, but a lot of people don't talk about is those buildings aren't quite full at 8:20. Those buildings would have been filled at 9:30 when the stock market opens. So after 9/11, I had some decisions to make. We were commuting all the way out to East Brunswick, New Jersey for about a year. And I had my mother calling me and telling me how great the recruiting business was. And to make the world even smaller, her neighbor was a guy by the name of Cliff Bass, who opened up a management recruiters franchise here in South Florida. So I had my mother calling me in New York while I was commuting 2 hours with security blocking the George Washington Bridge, and her telling me how well this guy Cliff Bass was doing down the street with 20 young recruiters working for him, and that I'm out of my mind that I'm not down here starting into the recruiting business. So I said, I can't get into construction recruiting. I can't screw in a light bulb. I take down the whole hi-hat thing with me to this day, but I got to learn something about the construction business. Now, my mother had a lot of relationships, so she started calling. She was working on a job order for a big construction company at the time called Centex Rogers. At the time, they were the biggest GC in the United States. And they were looking for a head of business development for their New Jersey office, someone to go out there to hospitals and to the chemical plants in northern New Jersey to tell them to do business with this general contractor. It's a business development role. So my mother suggested that I interview for this role with my experience from my Wall Street job. So they interviewed me. A gentleman by the name of Tim Gelbar, who's now the CEO, the president of Foster Wheeler AMEC, was my boss. And they hired me, and I got to understand, this was a terrific job because I got to understand from the inside out what the construction business looked like and how it worked, and what a project manager did. And I was on job sites and really got to see the process from the inside out. So from there, I decided, okay, I'm going to get into the recruiting business, and we opened our business in 2004, 2005, 2004 and 5, somewhere in there. Actually, 2003 and 4 is when we opened. So I know that's a long answer to a short question, but yeah, I'm second generation in this business, and we're at 20 years this year.
Oh, congratulations. I'm glad to hear that. I remember your mother well. I really do. To encapsulate just kind of in a brief statement, in 20 years, what's changed in your office?
I was just saying this to someone yesterday. What's changed is People don't pick up the phone as much as they used to. 20 years ago, now we're headhunters here at SearchMax, so we have no shame. We're not afraid to cold call someone in the middle of the day and tell them about an opportunity. That's what we're paid to do here. And the problem these days is, and what's changed is, a lot of people don't pick up the phone, and then you leave them a voicemail and they don't check the voicemail. So I would say that talking about a micro little thing, not the recruiting business in general, that's such a big differentiator, is just the fact that it's very difficult to get people on the phone. So I'd say that that's changed for sure.
But your consistency tells me that you are, for the benefit of clients, for the benefit of candidates, you're finding solutions to that problem, we'll call it, of people picking up the phone. What's your secret?
Well, you use the word consistency. So we are consistently using every avenue we can to get ourselves in front of candidates. So we're still cold calling, and we're going to continue to do that, because I continue to believe that speaking to someone one-on-one and really getting into the things that are not on the resume is the most important thing and what we can offer anyhow. So we're still going to continue to cold call. We do a ton of what we call a blast email, where we'll blast out an email to a specified audience, to a couple hundred people at a time, about a specific search we're working on. Now we're moving into more of an online presence, where we're trying to get in front of people using things like LinkedIn and putting things on social media. We attend trade shows and trade events. I'm going to a business development event on Friday afternoon. And we have a database that's been built over not just my group here for 20 years, but there's notes and we have on people going back to 1989 in terms of who they are and what they do in the business. We know a lot of people, so we'll get in front of them.
Now, your office appears, when I looked at your website or LinkedIn, your office appears to be very diversified. What specialties or digs are you primarily focused on?
We primarily focus in a couple of main areas. I mean, first of all, I'm talking about construction and real estate development, so that's a given. But on top of that, Julie Santiago and Ali Cohen in our office, and Jen Doria on our media team, and Vince, you may know this from all the award ceremonies we've had at MRI Network, have really put themselves on the map as one of the premier advertising, media, and PR recruiting groups in the country. I mean, that's one of the areas where we work. We do some work in accounting and finance. We've done work in the sciences over the years, but for the most part of what we do, and really where we thrive, is in that media, advertising, PR world, and then completely autonomously from that, our construction development and A&E team is primarily what we do.
So, yeah, Julie and Allie have been around a long time and have been on top of everything for so long. And personally, I'm very, very proud of both of them.
Yep.
What should our clients, what should your clients know about Adam Dalva and your commitment to succeed for them?
Well, first of all, I want to put the right person in the role. I genuinely like people. I like connecting people. I mean, I think that's where the differentiator is for me. What they should know is, if I'm going to put someone in the role, I'm going to kick just as many people out of the process, because I don't feel as though they're the right fit for you, as you're ultimately going to interview. So what should they know about me is that I'm on their side of the table. A lot of the times, recruiters, they feel like, hey, you're a necessary evil. We only want to pay a fee when we need to pay a fee. Truthfully, it's not about the fee. It's about putting the right person in the role, and it's about understanding who the right person might be and getting an understanding for that company's culture and who's going to fit, and who I can look at an invoice book from 5 years ago and say, that person is still with the company, and be proud of that. And I have a really high rate of looking back at folks we've placed and seeing that they're still there. So I'd say that's what I would want people to know.
Boy, that's huge, my friend. That's such a huge statement. For the candidates, it's the same question, but it's a different meaning, although it's the same result. You want to make sure candidates, I'm sure, are in the right position for them. But how do you balance that?
Well, you got to make sure it's the right role for them. And you can only do that if you really spend some legitimate time with the candidate and understand what they're looking for and why they should make a move. I mean, there's two different types of candidates, and Vince, you know this too. There's the type of candidate who's just looking for a job, and maybe they just want more money, and it depends on the economy. They feel like they're just looking to win something. And then there's the candidate who actually wants something that's a lot more, it's bigger than that. That they're looking for the right role. They're looking to be with the right team. They're looking to maybe build their career. They're looking to be around smart people. They're looking not to be bored. I enjoy getting into it with those folks and understanding what they're looking for, where they want to go. I end up being their recruiter psychologist. Anyone who I've placed has probably spent at least an hour or two with me on the phone multiple times before they end up taking the job anyhow.
Isn't it fun when you get a candidate at the end of the process and you can tell the difference when they say thank you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
To me, that's the most fulfilling part of a candidate is when you've invested into them, they've invested into them, and you provide them with a solution that they're excited about. And that's when you feel that heartfelt thank you from them. Do you agree with that?
Oh, the best thank yous I've gotten are the people who originally I truly headhunted in the first place, who weren't really looking for a job, who when we really got into it, were really excited about these new roles, but they were just so afraid to do it. And they got into these roles and they since have been promoted or stayed with the new company forever and they love it. And those are the ones I hear from the most that are the extra thankful for making the move. I'll tell you that.
Those people, the hard to find people in today's days, times and so forth of people not picking up the telephone, what's the magic? What's the magic of being able to find that nugget of gold in a candidate out there?
They're out there. You have to be consistent. And for every company that treats people well, there's another 5 companies that don't. And there's people who now know that. Their eyes are open. And they know that there's more opportunity out there. So if you stay in front of them and you keep going at it and you keep doing it and you're consistent and you go at them from all those avenues that we discussed earlier, then you round people up.
So you've been doing this for 20 years, whether it's construction or whatever. What makes SearchMax different than every other recruiter out there today?
Well, SearchMax is doing business the old-fashioned way, where SearchMax, and I know you'll appreciate this, Vince, is legitimately headhunting. SearchMax goes about their business differently. I've had the privilege of being inside of other recruiting agencies that are not part of this Management Recruiters Network, but are been in the business for quite a long time. We don't look for folks to come to us. We are actively headhunting. I don't believe that a company should be spending 25%, 30% of someone's first year's base salary to send us a check to throw an ad out there and go through the resumes of the people who are otherwise leaving their jobs because they were unhappy or they were passed up for a promotion. People should be using this firm specifically because they want a headhunter. They want someone to go out there and they want somebody to cold call someone until they get them on the phone and they get them to listen to the opportunity and they can articulate as to why they should listen to that opportunity. And they should be able to articulate as to why they should maybe take this thing seriously and go home and look at the company and then make a decision on whether or not they really are serious about making a career move. So that's what we do. Not all recruiting, everybody calls themselves a recruiting firm these days, but a lot of these places are staffing people, which means putting people into spots. We're unabashedly taking people that otherwise weren't looking for a spot. We want the best of the best available. And those are the people we want to put in spots.
I love that. I hope you put that somewhere in your marketing equipment and stuff like that, because we've lost sight of that. To your point, in today's world, everybody's using technology to find people. Everybody's looking for those people to come to them. They're looking for the low-hanging fruit and so forth. And to your point, that's not what this business is built around. You can make money doing that, but you're not
Sure.
going to build the relationships that you've built with your clients. And I love that, Adam. Congratulations. That's really cool.
Thank you.
Can you think back, because you've actively been involved in the search business, and I don't mean just owning the business and having recruiters do it. You've actually been on the telephone, recruiting, building relationships, and so forth. Is there a story in your 20 years that really stands out that you're proud of, where that connection made a difference in a company?
You can make a difference in a ton of different ways. I mean, plenty of the people that I've placed or we've placed as a group have now climbed the corporate ladder and they're in leadership roles. So plenty of people we've placed that are either, whether they be in the media business or whether they be in the construction or development business, have gone from the associate level up to even the C-suite. But I wouldn't say that's what's most special about the business. What's most special about the business is frankly just connecting the people together that should be where they are. Like the stories of this person was right for this project and they fit well with these personalities without naming names, which is so complex. Now I can speak for myself on the construction stuff because a lot of these projects are a pressure cooker, and they're tough. They move fast. There's a lot of money on the line, and not everybody's in the room to say things lightly. People, especially in the construction and development business, like to say it how it is. So I'm most proud of putting the right people on the right teams so that when I hear a project was successful, I know I was part of that, and I can drive down the street with my kids and I can say, you see that tower over there? I helped assemble that team, which I think is fun. And I don't know if that answers your question, but that's how I see it.
Boy, it never even entered my mind of having the opportunity to share with a child, to see something that you placed people into that grew before your very eyes. I've never heard that put that way before.
I'm a little annoying to my kids. I'm like Clark Griswold, pointing at buildings, telling them which ones I've put people on in different places. And we've worked on searches all over the U.S. too. So I can look at a building in Chicago. I can look at a building in L.A. We can look at buildings in Miami and Fort Lauderdale, New York. So, I'd love to be in the construction business myself. Unfortunately, like I said before, I can't hang a light bulb without taking down the whole hi-hat. So the best way I can be a part of this thing is to help assemble the teams.
Where do you see SearchMax 5 years, 10 years down the road?
If you're not growing, you're dying. I'm constantly looking at new avenues so we can increase. Now let's talk about the recruiting business versus the media and construction business, because they're two different things. So SearchMax is a business in itself that's autonomous from those. I'm looking at new areas where we can expand. I'm looking to be a part of the business for as long as possible. I'm 51 years old. I have no interest in sitting at home in 15 years and playing golf all day. I think I'm going to need to continue to work, and I think that's what's good for me. So with that in mind, I'm going to build as if like I'm going to be walking into this place 10 years plus out from now. So when I look at what I want to do, I'm looking into anything from like, hey, a local contract staffing model where like businesses to be able to count on us to use us for, hey, we want to put somebody on your payroll, whether it be in our accounting department, whether it be an attorney for a 12-week assignment, whether it be, it could be anything, but I'm looking to build out that piece of our local business. And there's some other things we're looking at as well. But I want to be known as a boutique search firm. And again, I stress the word search firm, not staffing company.
I love that. I love that. And I love the fact that you're looking so far ahead. Any chance that there could be a third generation coming into the business?
Definitely. My son, Max, who's in 8th grade, is already, I think he's counting on me, which is a bad idea to get into this business. But yeah, this is a fun business. I mean, look, my friend Scott calls it, it's fun. It's hard work with cash prizes. It's a good business. It's you're helping people. And I do think that I could see one of my kids getting into this business.
As you look to new business ventures or opportunities within SearchMax, what do you look for when you're looking to hire somebody? What do you look for your own staff that really stands out to know that you can trust yours, Julie's, everybody else's on your staff's reputation with them? What do you look for in that individual?
Well, there's two things. What you're talking about is integrity, which you have to have integrity to be a good recruiter. I recently overheard a conversation amongst some pretty high producing recruiters who are telling each other how much they hate people, which I found to be highly unusual for this business. So you have to be, the integrity has to be there. Doing it for the right reasons has to be there. That's the main driver. Now, to work with me specifically, I've hired 57 W-2 employees since we opened our doors at SearchMax. I would tell you, you have to be fast. I like people who work fast and can pick up on things quickly. So I give everybody the Wonderlic test before I'll bring them in. And I expect a relatively high score on the Wonderlic test. And I work best with people who can work at my pace and understand things very quickly. And I know that about myself. Just like I was saying, assembling these teams in construction is so important. I know who to put around myself to be successful too. Not saying I'm easy.
I've known you for quite a while, and your energy is off the wall. It really is. And I can certainly relate to what you're saying in regards to hiring somebody, forgive the terminology, but works at a slug's pace, just isn't going to keep up with you, I don't think.
No. If you work slow, I don't care how smart you are, it's just not going to work. We need to work fast. We need to work intelligently. And this business is skeet shooting. I mean, if a company has a need on a search, I don't care if you're retained or it's contingency. I mean, that thing's a skeet in the sky, and they need it filled yesterday. And if I can't do that, somebody else is going to do that. So they need to understand who they're speaking with. They need to understand the important questions that need to get answered. And then they need to be able to comprehend all that, which is something that's highly overlooked. I mean, just listening to things and not understanding what they mean is a disaster in itself. So I expect them to know what it means too. So I guess I ask a lot of anybody on our team, but it's worked out well because we have we have some fantastic people here that have been here forever, as you know. So I've hired some great people.
You wear your pride for your people on your shirt sleeve. You really do. And that's a rarity. And congratulations on that. Focusing on you put a lot into this business. You've been at it for a long time. Adam, what do you do to unwind at the end of the day?
I play a lot of tennis. But I can't unwind. I have 3 kids at home, and now I have 2 dogs. There's no unwinding for me. I walk in the door, someone hands me a leash, and they say, go walk the dog. So, I mean, they tell me to go unwind at the office. So, I don't know. At some point in my life, I'm going to get to unwind. Maybe I need to fly out to... Maybe I need to go on vacation to unwind, but for right now, I think I'm still going to be wound pretty tight. Is how it's going to work for me. But I do play tennis, play golf once in a while. I enjoy the kids. Tonight, I'm going to watch my kids' basketball game. So, and I'm always thinking about work because I run this business and I'm a construction recruiter at this business. I spend more time, I think, being a construction recruiter than I do being a business owner, quite frankly. Because I like being in the weeds on that. I'm reading the business journals constantly. I'm always following the news. I'm telling you, I follow this business, like this construction and real estate business, like it's a baseball card collection, like where everybody is and what everybody's doing. So unwinding to me is still working. I enjoy it.
Wait, you gave Julie a run for her money last year.
Well, it's my job.
Yeah. I'm proud of her. She's really a superstar. When you hired Julie, what did you see in her outside of integrity? Because, I mean, she beams integrity.
Yes,
Outside of integrity, what did you see in her that just made you say, she's got to be part of my team?
Oh, well, Julie, first of all, told me I was hiring Julie. So Julie came in for the interview. She worked for another recruiting company for about 2 years, and they told her she told me they worked in a like an 8x10 room, and they didn't treat her very well. But she learned a lot, and she worked for somebody pretty good over there who taught her a lot. And she told me, she came on the interview and she said, "You're going to hire me, and you're going to hire my friend." And I went home to my wife and I said, "This one seems like she's a superstar. I don't know about her friend, but she's got me closed on hiring them both, which is a good sign." So I hired her and her friend. Her friend ended up moving out to California after about a year, but she closed me on the first interview as to why I was hiring her.
Oh my gosh, that says it all in a nutshell. I mean, no wonder she's been a superstar with you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Adam, I really appreciate you taking the time with me today. Do you have a question for me?
Well, Vince, you've gotten to speak to so many different owners, and especially over the course of doing this project. I mean, are you seeing anything in terms of consistencies out of, the way folks have gotten into that? It seems to me like everybody who's in the recruiting business got here by some odd. Now people, I guess, want to get into the recruiting business, and I meet young folks coming out of college that want to get into the recruiting business. But I've got to imagine most of the people you've spoken to that have been here for a while all got here by happenstance, like stories like mine. I mean, have you got any consistencies as to how people got into this business? Any at all?
No, there's several that I've talked to like you that came in through second generation.
Yep.
Got some that have come in through second generation that weren't family, like myself. But I think there's a curiosity out there. When I started in this business, recruiting, everybody wanted to know what branch of the military I was in. It transitioned to become an incredible profession. I mean, I can remember telling people you don't go to college to become a recruiter. They don't offer classes. It's still true. But what I have found, I think, not so much in how people have come into this business, but to me, it takes two qualities. One is you've got to be a salesperson, even if you don't realize it. Because every single person was born a salesperson. I've told this story before. At 4 years old, 3 years old, as soon as you could talk, you were trying to sell your parents on something you wanted that they didn't want you to have. And so we're all born salespeople. Some chose to go other directions, but I don't believe I'm not a born salesperson. I don't believe in that. The other attribute in coming into this business, and you coined it, and I'm hearing it from everybody I talk to, it's about building relationships. And you talked about it, building relationships, because you want to deliver for candidates. You want to deliver for clients the right people. That takes time. It takes involvement. It takes risk. So to come into this business, you've got to want to build those relationships, and you've got to want to risk it all, because it's not going to happen overnight. Does that answer your question at all?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's the consistency out of everybody I talk to, is for whatever. I think it's luck to fall into this business. I mean, I can see your passion and your love for doing this business, and 20 years later, still being a recruiter first and running the business second in your mind is where your passion is. This business is a gift. And like any gifts, if you treat it with respect, the return is phenomenal. And that's not financial. It's in your heart. Adam, I thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun. It's fun to see you.